So welcome back to another SUPboarder review. In this review we're doing something a little bit different. We're reviewing the Aquatone Haze 11.4 by 32 by 6 compact iSUP. But we're doing something a little bit different. We're taking it up a mountain to paddle on a mountain lake to really test how these boards are more compact and how transportable they are. So Aquatone market this board as pack light, travel far. It's for the type of person that wants to go on an adventure, carry the board on their back because it's so small, compact and light, or it's for the person that has maybe a restriction in the amount of storage space they have or the size of the car that they have, and they want a nice compact board that will fit in and allow them to go on some amazing adventures in some new places. The specifications of the Aquatone Haze: this board is 11.4 long, it's 32 wide and 6 inches thick, made out of drop stitch with a central stringer. This board retails at $399, €399 and 419 GB pounds. The Aquatone Haze comes in a package which includes a 4-part aluminium nylon paddle, a high pressure pump which has a deflate and an inflate option, a coiled leash, this 78 litre lightweight backpack, and push-in fin systems, and it has 2 fins to keep the board as compact as possible. The Aquatone Compact iSUP series also comes in the Mist, which is a 10.4 by 32 all-round shape, whereas this Haze 11.4 is more of a touring outline shape. The board is made from a single layer of Aquatone's light drop stitch material. This lightweight fabric and single layer keeps the board as lightweight and as compact as possible. This lighter weight single layer construction means that to achieve reasonable board stiffness, Aquatone add a 13 cm wide stringer on the top and bottom of the board, made from a layer of PVC. To further help stiffness and durability, Aquatone add a second layer of PVC on the rails, making this a single layer double railed iSUP with PVC stringer. The board is only available in one construction, the same as with the Mist 10.4. So we're about 1 kilometre into our hike up a pretty steep hill, and we're getting a really good feel for these bags and how these iSUPs are to transport. What we found is that the bags were really nice and big, really easy to fit the boards in, and there was enough space for the paddle, a pump, leashes and a few bits and pieces that we're taking, extra clothing, etc. we're taking for our day out here in Wales. What we have noticed though is as you're walking further and further, you do notice that the lightweight bags don't give you a huge amount of support, and they could benefit from slightly more well-positioned chest straps, and would love to have a waist strap on these bags. The bags are certainly good for my size of person at around 65 to 70 kilos, but Harry is definitely struggling a little bit more with his bag as he's a bigger guy and he can't actually close the chest strap very well, and if he does close it, it kind of hits his neck. So these bags are definitely suited for the lighter, smaller rider. The whole package weighs in at only 10.7 kilos, with the board weighing just 9.4 kilos compared to other similar sized packages. This is very light, with most full iSUP packages weighing in at around 15 to 20 kilos. For comparison, the smaller Mist, the full package weighs 9.95 kilos and the board just 8.7 kilos. When it comes to setting up the board, everything is straightforward. The board can easily be taken out of the bag via the big opening and unrolled easily. The valve on the board is in the centre of the board compared with the more traditional position on the tail or the nose, but this doesn't affect inflation. Pumping up the board is easy with the provided 2-way pump. It takes around 3 to 5 minutes. The board takes a recommended PSI of 15 and the pump is perfectly suitable for achieving this. The pump is not the most up-to-date of models available, but perfectly suitable for pumping up this board and includes both an inflation and deflation option. The 2 5-inch fins are a push-in design that are easily fit and require no tools. They are shaped in a basic way but suitable for lower performance applications. The package comes with a coiled leash which is finished nicely with Aquatone branding. The cuff is narrow and the cord is thinner than some package leashes at only 4mm compared to a more standard 5mm, but suitable for flat water paddling. The narrow cuff will be comfortable on smaller paddlers as well. Remember, if paddling on moving water, to attach your leash to a quick release around your waist. The leash attaches to a very good sized D-ring at the rear of the board. As this D-ring is large, it's quick and easy to secure, so you can get paddling faster. Let's take a look at some of the features of the board once inflated as we set the board up in Wales.
The nose tail of the board, a little bit of slight rocker on the nose of the board, which is nice, not too much, so you're going to get a lot of good waterline length of this board and it's going to glide really nicely. Your front bungees, relatively small, but have the potential to increase the size of your bungees if you buy a little bit more shock cord, so you can put some really big bags on it. Coming back, you've got split deck pad. This allows you to fold the board in half. This handle is offset, which again allows the board to be folded. Moving to the back of the board, you've got some rear bungees for taking cargo, and finally you've got your D-ring for attaching your leash.
The Haze comes with one central carrying handle, which is offset from the centre to allow the board to be folded. The handle is very well balanced on the board when the fins and the leash are on, which is an improvement from the smaller Mist. You will notice that you might have to hold the board up when carrying it to prevent the rails touching the ground. It's not possible to hold the board the other way around due to the 6-inch thickness, making it too hard to get your arm all the way around the board and hold it the other way up. Because the board is made to be extremely light and low priced, it does not have any nose or tail handles, which can often aid getting on and off the water. However, its large leash D-ring can be used to lift the tail to help launch and recover. On the water, the board paddles really well. Its flat rocker line and minimal nose kick allow the board to glide well. For a single layer, single chamber board, it feels pretty stiff, being confirmed by a deflection test which showed just 13mm of deflection with 75 kilogram weight with a span of 1.5 meters. This is very good for a board of such a simple construction at 6-inch thick and 32 inches wide. To give you some idea, a 7mm stiffness is the most stiff board we've ever tested, and these go down to around 21mm for the least stiff. Make sure you check out the collated deflection test results of all the other boards we've tested in the graphs via the SUPboardermag.com post. I am 70 kilos, and as you can see, the board performs really well at this weight. When compared to the Mist 10.4, you certainly noticed an improved speed, glide and tracking with the Haze. The board offers good stability, exactly what you would expect from a 32-inch wide board. The Haze is a little less stable than the Mist as a result of its more drawn out outline, but this is what we would expect for this more intermediate level board. When moving about the board, we noticed that the deck pad was a little slippy underfoot. The embossing is a little shallow on the Haze. We did notice that the Mist has better embossing. When doing step back turns, the lack of deck pad and therefore grip on the tail is certainly noticeable. Although the lack of deck pad at the tail helps with the board's light weight, we think having a larger deck pad would be a compromise worth making, as would give paddlers more confidence to learn manoeuvres such as step back turns. Using shoes or surf wax on the tail of the board will help grip and confidence. Both the Haze and the Mist are very nimble to manoeuvre on step back turns, with the lightweight construction making them feel nippy and agile. When paddling the board, we really notice the offset handle and how it's positioned just under where your feet would go. As this board is designed for lighter riders, widening your stance might make the board feel a little uncomfortable to paddle, and narrowing your stance might make you feel a little bit insecure. Standing behind or in front of the handle will slow the board down a little bit. It could perhaps be better for this handle to be positioned slightly more towards the centre of the board to make paddling and carrying more comfortable. The two short 5-inch fins seem to do a really good job of keeping the board tracking well. This was also apparent in windy conditions where the board paddled well and dealt with small chop as it should. The small amount of nose kick just helping to allow the board to glide through bumps well. The paddle provided is nylon bladed with an aluminium shaft in a 4-piece construction. The blade is nice and small, which will certainly suit lighter, smaller framed riders. The paddle is easy to put together with push pin and clamp locks. There is a small amount of play in the parts which you do notice on the water, but in general for an aluminium paddle, stiffness was pretty good. If you want to paddle more and further, you might want to upgrade your paddle in the future. We did notice that the attachment system for the blade onto the shaft was difficult to tighten enough, leaving the blade a little insecure in the shaft. Unfortunately, there is a little bit of scope to be left up a creek without a paddle here, so take care. If you are buying the Aquatone Mist or Haze, always make sure that before you go paddling, you tighten up these fittings, as when supplied from the factory, they are quite loose and will potentially get knocked open or off when you hit the paddle on the side of your board. This board would suit first-time paddlers or paddlers wanting to step up from an all-round 10.4 to 10.6 size paddleboard. Its 11.4 length gives significantly more glide than a 10.4 or 10.6, and it's not much less stable or manoeuvrable than the all-round model. It will suit paddlers up to 95 kilos, but ideally in the range of 70 to 90 kilos would be optimum for this board. Its lightweight construction certainly will limit larger riders from using this board. The Aquatone Haze is going to suit anyone wanting to do general flat water or all-round paddling, and those wanting to travel a little bit further or have a go at SUP touring. I would be perfectly comfortable using this board on an overnight expedition because of its great deck bungee setup with bungees at the front and the rear. Because this board is compact, it's really going to be great for those wanting to do more adventurous trips where the board might need to be carried for longer distances like we did in Wales. At the same time, if you want to travel on a bus or a train or a plane to do your paddling, it's going to make that a little bit easier due to its compact size.
So these compact boards are relatively stripped back in terms of their fixtures and their fittings, and their construction is very light as well. Of course, when you want a board that's transportable, you certainly want it to be lightweight, which means the manufacturer makes sure that the materials are lightweight, there's fewer layers of PVC. The negative of that is that they're less durable, they'll more easily puncture, and that's something you need to be aware of. But it's a function of these boards being lightweight and compact. You'll also find that they might be stripped back in terms of the features on the deck. You might have fewer handles, fewer fixtures, and certainly deck pads are a bit smaller and shorter, so you might not have, in this board's case, have the deck pad extending right to the back to make step back turns easier. These are some of the compromises that you have to be aware of if you're looking at one of these boards. It doesn't make them bad boards. They're built to be light, to be small, which means the manufacturer has to keep some of those parts out of the product.
When it comes to deflating and rolling up your Aquatone Haze, there's a couple of things that you need to be aware of. Because of the position of the valve, you really need to deflate the board using your pump to make it possible to roll it up in a compact way and fit it back in the bag. Because the pump has a deflate option, this isn't a problem and is very quick to do. It does take a little bit of getting used to fold the board and roll it tight enough to get back into the bag, but with some practice we figured it out, and this will probably get easier as the material gets more supple with use. We got the full package back in the bag for the long walk home. Because the fin boxes are very slim, it's also easy to roll the board up so it's comfortable in the bag on your back.
Definitely a bit of a knack to getting it in the bag.
Is it one of those things where...
It's not as easy, it's definitely easier to get it, it's definitely smaller when it comes from the factory.
Aquatone are the sister brand of Astron, who are a very well established brand in the market today. Both Astron and Aquatone are available through retailers throughout the UK, Europe and the rest of the world. Aquatone focus on manufacturing affordable products to help as many people get on the water as possible. The Aquatone Haze and Mist are both offered with a 1-year manufacturer's warranty, which is not as good as some brands that offer 2, 3 or even 5-year warranties. There seems to be very little awareness for the environment with the packaging of these products, unfortunately. They're all packaged with a large amount of plastic, which could easily be replaced for more environmentally friendly recycled paper. We hope to see improved packaging from Aquatone soon. So what are the negatives or cons of the Aquatone Haze? Well, firstly, the deck pad is a little bit slippy. We would also like to see a deck pad extended to the rear of the board to make things like step back turns much more easy and confident for the paddler. Unfortunately, the paddle didn't tighten as much as we wanted to see to ensure that that blade is securely positioned, and the handle position does make the paddling experience and the carrying experience suboptimal. On a board like this, it would be nice to see rear and nose handles, but we do understand why they're not there to try and keep the weight and the price down. The environmental considerations on the packaging are a real negative for us here, and the backpack is relatively simple and not particularly comfortable if you want to carry it a long way. It would be great to see Aquatone offer an improved backpack as an accessory or upgrade to this board, The provided bag is more than suitable for transporting it short distances, but a more comfortable bag would be a great upgrade for those wanting to take their haze on a serious expedition. In summary, the Aquatone Haze is a really nice, lightweight and relatively stiff compact iSUP. With good glide and improved tracking compared to the 10-4 Mist, the Haze is a really nice setup for those midweight riders wanting to do longer distance paddling. I would certainly be happy taking this board on an overnight SUP expedition due to its good sized deck bungees and overall setup. Lighter riders might want to look towards thinner 4.75 inch thick boards, unless they're planning to carry a lot of extra luggage. Yes, there are a few things that can be improved, such as the deck pad and the paddle attachment system, but for less than 1/3 of the price of some other compact touring boards of the same size, the Aquatone Haze is a great value for money product and will certainly get you on the water and exploring further afield. The Haze is a very stripped back board. As a result, you get a very lightweight compact package, and you just can't expect all the bells and whistles on these boards, particularly at this great price point.